the Destro Lava Zone fallen targets.
I just 2v1 both their DKs. Oh, no, full heal. Never mind. Got healed by the priest. He died anyway. Okay, make that a possible 3v1. Nope. Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. So the clip you just saw was part of like a pug I joined. It was Tuesday, like 8 a.m. right before the servers were going down. I wanted some RBG conquest points right after I did the arena conquest point grab, and I just want to cap out my conquest right before the server even went down for the week to get all that gear for the upcoming raid on heroics. And we got destroyed. We were like a 2k pug and we queued into like a 2360 something average RBG team, and we lost pretty hard, but I had a few clips where I just like demolished them. So it kind of brought me to the realization, kind of one that I've had before, that I want to share with you guys. Like, I've shown you guys some noob plowing action of the 1300, 1500, 1700 arena where I kill people in like a second and a half, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. I mean, these guys died just as fast. Yeah, so it brings up the question, like, what is the real difference between a player that you mowed down in a 1300, 1500 arena compared to one of these guys, like 2400 rated, DKs and whatnot? When you're doing the damage, when they're receiving it, it's just a game, man. Everything abides by the parameters of the game. If you can kill someone who has the same gear in a 1300 or 1400 bracket, if they're 2400 rated, they're gonna die just as fast. It's just numbers, man. And you probably ask, it's like, of course it is. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Well, when I was doing these RBGs, it went like this. Okay, so we take like 2 hours to get enough people together that seemed like a pretty decent composition of players that at one point in time had some kind of PvP achievement on that character, whether they got it themselves or earned it or whatnot. Obviously, you can't check, so you probably kill with some pretty bad players every now and then, but what's the real difference? So when we got in, all the other guys on Skype, I guess, or Mumble later on, they were talking about, it's like, oh my god, we just queued into this team. I know these guys. These guys, oh my god, it's this famous YouTuber, man. This guy's like 2300 rated. I don't know what to do. Holy shit. And they're just like talking about these guys the whole time. And, the game starts. We haven't really figured out anything. And these guys lost the battle already. And they don't realize it's just a game of numbers. It's in the head. Win or loss, it's in your head a lot of the time. And if you go in with the mentality that you're afraid of these guys, that you're thinking that you're gonna lose just because you know them and they don't know you, that is the wrong way to go about things. And when it comes to the RBGs, these guys would lose. These guys would complain how we suck and the other team's so much better. We had no chance, and then whoops. I guess I gotta go. That was my last game, unfortunately. Wish you guys the best of luck. Maybe next time. And then you wait another like 2 hours to find another decent team to queue up again. So, it's pretty rough pugging out the RBGs on the sanity, but at the same time, all this stuff can be prevented. The real difference between a player who's like low rated and high rated in arena, or in most other games, comes to one of two factors that I've seen. It comes to organization, so being able to know what you're going to do, what you can do, what you're capable of, and organizing that with the other teammates. Because if it's like a one-on-one, it'd be really hard to go anywhere. That's why arena isn't one-on-one. It's because the communication part, the working with your teammates part of the game, is really the bulk of what you're doing. Being able to communicate and make these combinations of stacking damage, stacking CC, or overall impressions that you can then lay on the other team for them to act a certain way, playing the mind game and all that stuff. That is the main difference between those teams. The second, of course, is like the gear and the ability to play your character. but that over the years has diminished so far in a game like World of Warcraft that it doesn't really matter that much at this point. Obviously, if you're going to like 1300 rated shit, you're gonna see a difference. But once you go past 16, 17 in World of Warcraft, the difference is very small. It can be significant when it comes to like using things at clutch times and whatnot, but overall, it's really not. When I played back in Burning Crusade, you had to like micro so much, and the micro accounted for a lot of your performance as a DPS, for instance. But when it comes to nowadays, you can just, as a hunter, at least turn aspects of the fox and just like, mash whatever button is off cooldown and you'll be fine. So that difference is kind of past, but it's not something that you should overlook. I have this title that I use, that I like to use in World of Warcraft. It's Kripparrian the Insane. It's because every single time I go into like arena, I go into a situation, I just don't give up. It's everything's by the numbers. If they're doing it better, they've probably got more experience on me. They're doing it a different way. I'm gonna find out how they do it. I just go back at it again and again and again and again. Just like you saw with the 2v1 on the DK, that game, like, we practically killed none of them. But it didn't stop me from, going out there and trying again, just seeing what I could do, what I could learn, and how I could impact the other team to maybe use that information in a later case. And, every now and then, this sense of tenacity is going to break through the opponent, and you're going to do much better than you otherwise would. So that's the moral of the story, guys. You got to treat your enemy just like they are. They're all bound by limits, and it's just another player. You can learn what they're doing, and eventually you can use that information to overcome them. It's really always that simple. You should never be intimidated by your opponents, and never think you're going to lose, even though the odds are stacked against you. Have a good one, guys. See you tomorrow.